Hello, my amazing friends. Welcome back to the Follow Your Path channel. Thank you for being here. Honored that you are giving your time and attention to take in content like this because this channel is here to support you on your path. The world needs you. The world desperately is in search of those who are on their path, those who are in their center, which is really just you beyond fear, right? You being on your unique path and blueprint that's inside of you is the you beyond the fear. And today's episode is going to be about really highlighting the world out there. If you look at our society, our culture in the modern day, everything, my friends, is designed to keep your attention out there in the Maya, in the physical realm, the material world, with all of its shiny things and its distractions. And it's brilliantly created to keep you captivated out there so that you're not going within here, so that you don't know who you really are, right? For many of us, we are being, through the unconscious mind, dictated in our behavior, in our day-to-day actions, the way that we show up, the energy that we carry, that's being dictated by fear, that's being dictated by stories from our past choices that we've made, that we've known ourselves through, that is now dictating and informing who we are in the now space. So it's like, how much is actually being created in the now, right here, differently than the ways that you've known things before. And this is, Stephen Pressfield talks about the war of art, resistance. Can you right now just take a breath and identify where resistance is going on in your life, where you're fighting anything, where you are battling against yourself, where you're battling against life and circumstances that are going on out there? Where is the resistance being held within you? That is a very powerful thing to get clarity on. Because, of course, what you resist persists. And I've talked about that in other videos. But back to the world out there. To me, a big part of this, if you want to call it Earth School, if you want to call it a plane of duality for us to learn what it's like to be in physical form out of the usual oneness and total unity back with source, what it's like to be separate in a body from that and then make your way back. One of the things that we have to do as part of this waking up process is we have to see the outside world for what it is. It's not real. It is an illusion, and it uses fear and material things to pull you outside of your power. It convinces you to give your power away to things, institutions, laws, man-made laws, rules and guidelines, social norms, like all of these things are what we're disentangling ourselves from as we go through this spiritual awakening, self-actualization, coming back to the truth. Right now, we have a world that is getting louder than ever. We are so connected through media to the entire rest of the planet. We're always taking in news going on somewhere of some kind of tragedy, of some kind of problem that's going on. And we don't even realize, because we've gotten a little bit numb to it, but we don't realize how much it's actually affecting our behavior and the way that we're showing up. And so this is why to me, it's almost like the world is getting so loud, and the line between truth and fiction is getting so blurry that it's almost forcing us to go within ourselves. It's almost forcing us to learn discernment, like true discernment in your own heart, because that is unique to you. What feels in alignment to you and what feels right to your heart is going to be different than other people. And that mechanism is like a muscle. It needs to be strengthened. It needs to be honed in the same way that our focus is, right? And to me, our focus is our absolute superpower, which another design of the world out there is to fragment your focus and to make it seem cool to multitask and be productive and shift your focus constantly doing things at the same time. When your focus is laser like and it's on one thing, that thing is going to grow. That is like a direct ray of sunlight coming into the garden and hitting that plant, giving that plant the photons, the nutrient, whatever it is that the sun gives the plant. It's sustenance, right? So that plant is going to grow getting that direct sunlight. And our focus is the same way. It's the light of our awareness. And if that is fragmented and pulled in all these different directions, and we're constantly thinking about our problems and things that we got to do, and we're in beta brain mode all day, and we're not taking any time to slow it down and bring ourselves back to theta, back to that place where we're in the imagination, to where we can actually create. This is where the creative energy comes from. And if you want to express your true nature, which is a creator, if you want to have power over this reality, you have to know that you're a creator, and you have to prioritize putting yourself in more of a theta brain wave mode, and take deliberate time out of the beta mode world out there and go within and get very clear on what you'd like to create, express, experience, because this will pull you. It will hypnotize you in the same way that going on your phone and jumping on the internet or jumping on social media, you think you're consciously in control of that, and then next thing you know, you're caught in the shimmer, you're absorbed, and you get put under a spell, you're hypnotized, and then next thing you know, you're doom scrolling. We all have had this experience. This is what the outer world does. It hypnotizes you to come into agreement with it, to think that you're just little me living in this world and I just got to get through it. I got to figure it out. No, you are the world. The universe is inside of you. And this is a reflection of that. This should be yielding to what's in here. That's how you know you're walking on your path of power. That's when you know who you are, when you no longer let your old choices that came from a lower awareness, a lower consciousness, a little me consciousness. You're no longer allowing that to inform you. You decide now in this space of all that is here right now. It's never been here before. This is the opportunity, the blank slate to decide to go a new direction. And then it's like, how consistent can you be with that decision? When you decide something, how powerful is it? Or how weak is it? How quick are you to go back to the old after you make what feels like a powerful decision? This is something that I've had to really get honest with myself about, because my past decisions, when I've tried to make those like powerful leaps, have been very weak. And I find myself back in the same pattern, a week later. So how do we prevent that from happening? At the beginning, as you're forming these new habits, these new ways of being, this new identity that you're assuming, it takes practice. It takes high level awareness. You got to be writing stuff down. You got to be reminding yourself. You got to be doing practices that are helping you to anchor this in. When you go out into the outer world, can you bring awareness with you as you walk? That you're becoming, that you're stepping into? How does he or she walk in the body? What's their posture? How do they enter a room? How do they drive their car? How do they speak to people? becoming conscious. What is the energy that I'm bringing to the outer world? Not what energy am I taking in from the outer world. That is the old model where the world out there informs you. No, 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 no. You inform it now. Play with this. It's not a serious thing. The outer world wants it to be serious. Again, fear, little me, victimhood, or it's like total other end of the spectrum where it's complete comedy and chaos and just like entertainment and just do everything you can to just like tune out. So this is a game where it's like, how conscious can you be, and how much can you keep yourself from being hypnotized from the world out there? Temptation, the Lord's Prayer. Again, you guys are going to hear me talk about this more. I am not a religious person. I am spirit. I am connected to that which is spirit. I have no binds to any religion. With that said, there are so many incredible, beautiful truths that are in all of the religions. That's why I would say that they're all branches of the same tree. But I bring this to preface talking about the Lord's Prayer, which they say in Christianity is the most powerful of all the prayers. And as part of that, the line that I'm thinking of is, lead us not into temptation and deliver us from evil. Now, from a religious context, you hear evil and you're like, oh, hell, demons, devil. I got to battle against that. Like, no, get it away from me. But really, if you look at, and maybe you've heard this before, maybe not in this way, you see the word live, right? The inversion of that is evil. Living, consciousness, presence, feeling, being in the moment. Evil, the inversion of live, that is the hypnotic state. That is the derped out, I'm hypnotized in the illusion. I'm caught in the illusion. I don't know who I am. I'm disconnected from my source. I'm disconnected from nature. And I'm in the dream spell. And you're just kind of like this automaton almost. And every day is the same. That's evil. That's zombie mode. That's autopilot. And we're here to live. And I'm speaking to you through the lens of someone who spent a lot of time in evil, not the darkness evil that we're used to talking about, right? Again, with the devils and the demons. I'm talking about like autopilot, tuning out. That was the way that I learned to dissociate from intense emotions. Not even so much what was going on out there, but what was going on in here. The emotions that I would feel were so intense when I was little, so empathic, feeling so much. I would feel so much of adult stuff. I could feel how unstable they were in a lot of environments, mostly like at school and, again, the world out there. It didn't feel safe. And yeah, my home environment was the same way. My brother's um, mental health was not good, in the sense of like, you never knew when there was going to be a blow up at any time. And then when they put him on as a 9-10-year-old, like 8 different kinds of medications, that's how they did it back then. Maybe they still do it that way, which is sad to think. It made it even worse, right? So anyways, I would dissociate. I would go into the evil place of just disconnecting, not living, not present, anything that I could to get out of here. And so my practice and one of my biggest challenges and pieces of evolution has been to anchor myself back in the body, to ground, and to not be under the spell, because I didn't feel safe in here. Why? I didn't know who I was. Fear dictated so much of my life and the decisions that I made and the way that I saw myself. When you can start to see that out there is an illusion and actually will yield to a conscious being who knows who they are, who has the conviction and that gnosis of eternal spirit, that's going to start to mirror that. And you're going to see for yourself that has never had power over you other than what you came into agreement with. It was always what you came into agreement with. It was a trick. It was a sleight of hand. The entire system relies on you not knowing who you are in a sleight of hand distraction, just like a good magician. Oh my God, it looks so real, right? And then later on, after the magic show's over and the magician's had a couple cocktails and you go up and have a conversation and he tells you how he does the things, you're like, oh my God, how did I not see that? That's so fucking obvious. Like, wow. And it's because you were distracted just enough to not see what he was doing to pull the trick off. That, ladies and gentlemen, that's what this is. This is the Maya. This is the dream spell we're waking up from. And we are tempted every day. I used to say the Lord's Prayer in church as a Catholic, not knowing anything about it. I would just say it robotically because that's what everyone says at church. I'm like, oh, I know this prayer. I feel like I'm part of something. And I guess that part felt good, but I didn't know what the fuck I was saying. And now I say the Lord's Prayer again at this point in my life because that prayer of lead us not into temptation and deliver us from evil. I'm getting out of the small me and I'm connecting to source and I'm saying, hey, deliver me from evil. Make me so aware of when I'm getting pulled into the hypnotism so that I can come back to presence again. When temptation comes for me to give my power away to something out there, no matter what it is, let me be aware and be present enough to know when that's happening. And again, come back to center. Let me lead a life where the temptation does not have the power over me anymore. And when I say this, guys, I'm not saying you got to be some monk in a monastery and just deny all of the shiny things out there. No, it's a whole different orientation. When you know who you are and you're in your power, it's like it's more fun to play with the things out there, but they don't have a hold on you. They're not your identity anymore, and there's no power being given. And it's way more fun from that place, for sure. See it for yourself. Can you let yourself get in a practice where you go out there and just start to see the illusion for what it is? And you'll see people that are under the hypnotic spell. You'll see the system that makes no sense at all. And you'll see the madness of it all. Can you laugh at that? Can you see, there it is. Okay, I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to get it. And then you bring your energy to it. You inform it. Hey, watch out. I'm coming to you. You're not informing me. You're not dictating what's going down. I'm bringing that to you. The energy's going out instead of coming in. That's a big shift to make. I'll use the example that I always do with the young guys that I mentor. There's a party. You can either show up at that party the way that you've always been, right? Just kind of willy-nilly, like, oh, let's see how it goes. And what happens? You go internal and you're like trying to protect yourself and you're like trying to fit in and be accepted, all these different things, right? But if before you go into the party, you took a minute and you set an intention and you grounded yourself in who you are, and you said, I am going into this party to enjoy myself, to say hello to people, to feel human connection. I am going to be someone that creates smiles in the room, that uplifts the energy in the room, that is present and listening to people. And just from me being here, it brings value to the space and it makes the party better because I'm here and my light is being infused into this space. And I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to have a great time because I'm not caught in the internal fear stuff in that experience. Just that little intention alone. And the young guys can even understand this. The guys that are in high school, who's going to have a better time? The guy who goes in willy nilly or takes a minute or two and states that intention and walks into an environment knowing who they are and knowing what they're looking for and having already shaped the experience that they're going to have. That's a superpower. What if you could bring that into every facet of your life? What would be different? Everything. You're now the magician and you're not doing any sleight of hand. You're just knowing your power and you're knowing that that is not it. And the more that you go within yourself, the more that you explore and discover who you really are, you embody that. And that energy is carried with you. And less you will be tempted into fear, to giving your power away. This is why meditation, spending time with yourself, living intentionally is of the utmost importance because we've got to wake up from the dream spell. We've got to, and we can invite other people into it, not from shouting on the rooftop, but from embodying a level of presence that invites other people to ask you, like, hey, how are you doing that? I used to know you as this way, and now you're like this whole other person. How'd you do it? That's when the door is open for them. And that's when the door is open for you to give what you've gave yourself. You are now the source for others. And that will power you up and you will get more abilities. You'll get more resources, everything that you need to help others with that same thing. Because you are the one that's generating and giving those feelings to other people. We can support each other so much in this path, everyone. And that's what I created this channel for, to support you on your path. That's the work that I do with people one-on-one in my coaching and my counseling, because there's nothing more joyful for me than to see people lit the fuck up in their power and not being ruled by fear, not being ruled by the outer world, breaking that spell and actually reversing the spell and infusing the out there with their light. There's nothing that brings me more joy than that. When someone is liberated from the mental prison, truly, and that resistant part of the mind, the ego identity mind, is not the dictator anymore. It's not the one driving the car. Glory, hallelujah, when that happens. And that's what this is all about. So that is my message for today, my beautiful beings. Thank you for, again, being here. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for, being that light. You wouldn't watch this to the end otherwise. So also, if you got something from this, my request, my invitation is to share this with people. Spread the message. Get this content out there to people. This isn't me. This isn't Sean. This is spirit talking through me. This is life. This is the universe. That's my intention before I do all of these videos. It's like, let me just be a vessel, a conduit for the highest love and good and transformation and truth to come through, whatever that's going to look like. And I just try my best to get out of the way. So subscribe if you haven't already. Invite others to, if it resonates for you and you think they'll receive from it. And let's get this thing moving. And if you're really wanting to step in, let's work together. I actually have 2 one-on-one spots available for the summer. And I can tell you this, it's a deep dive. Get ready to not go back to the way things were. Get ready to be a fucking powerhouse in your life. Get ready to face off with your shadows and see them in a completely new way. And get ready to be the brightest light that you could ever imagine, because you're here for this. I'm here for this. Let's go. It's time. And you know it. You can feel it. It's time. Yeah. All right, everyone. Much love. I'll see you soon.